Mountain Moving Faith. This is my latest book. And if you want to learn how you can move mountains, life has many mountains. While this journey, you will encounter mountains and you wonder, how can I move mountains? This is a book to read. And it took me time to research, to pray, and to wait on God and look at the scriptures and what Jesus talked about moving mountains. And this book is quite a story, it's quite an inspiration. It is quite something that will change your life. So order your copy today. We can send it to you wherever you are in this country. We will be able to send this book to you on Mountain Moving Faith. Call that number or send a message and our team will be able to ship it to you wherever you are. There's a book to read. You can also buy for your friend, for a family as a gift. And I have no doubt they will thank you and that they will be always thankful for what you have done for them. So God bless you as you read this book, Mountain Moving Faith.
Welcome to Kingdom Business Network. This is a program that comes to you discussing the matters on business. And we're so much glad that you stayed tuned in to listen to our discussions. We value your viewership, we value you, and we are interested in making sure that you are helped by the business tips that we offer on this station. And with us is Pastor Geoffrey Kilonzo. We had a discussion with him last week, and we want to continue from where we left. We will be discussing on the entrepreneurial mindset, how to balance profit and purpose. And on my immediate left is Enoch, and Enoch can introduce himself.
Well, thank you so much, Doc. It's an absolute honor to be here today. I'm very excited to also have Pastor Geoffrey once again on the show. We are really glad to have you, man of God.
Thank you.
You are blessing us so much. Entrepreneurship is it's a journey, and it has its ups and downs. So for you, the young people out there, I want to call upon everyone who wants to really venture into this space. It is important to understand a few things that will help you navigate this terrain. It is not obvious, like we said last session. Not every believer who is into entrepreneurship is really making it. So you need an understanding from an expert, and we're really glad that every time we discuss, there is so much to learn. So please join us and let us enjoy this. Over to you, Doc.
Thank you.
Yes.
Geoffrey, you can introduce yourself and welcome once again. We missed you.
Thank you very much. I'm also very happy to be back. Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you're watching from. My name is Geoffrey Kilonzo. I'm an entrepreneurship expert, or I call it enterprise development expert. I'm also a master trainer with the International Labour Organization, but I'm also a preacher of the gospel. And so I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad that you're watching. Like Enoch has said, entrepreneurship is not for the chicken-hearted. It takes guts. It takes a lot of strength and the tenacity, but also it takes faith. It's a spiritual matter to be a business person, especially if you're born again. So welcome to this show. I welcome you to this show, and I'm sure you're going to learn enough that is going to take you quite some far of distance in terms of entrepreneurship. So thank you very much, Doc, for inviting me. Thank you, Enoch, and I'm always glad to be here.
Welcome once again. We had a lot of wonderful response from our viewers.
All right.
And I would encourage them to pick up from where you left last time. We want to make sure that we give you the whole package. So start preparing your questions. Geoffrey Kilonzo will answer all of them today in this session. Maybe you can give us a small recap, 5 minutes on what we discussed last week.
Well, last week we talked about the mental blocks that affect entrepreneurs. It's every time you want to start, there's things that make you not start, and especially entrepreneurship. There are some people that are employed today. They're not happy where they're working, and they just can't leave because they are afraid. You know, and last week we talked about people who say there's a lion outside. I will not go out. There are other people who are actually jobless, you know, and we know the crisis we have in this country. There's a crisis in Africa across the board. We have a crisis of unemployment. But the young people keep on saying, I can't start a business, because there's either too much you think about a business, or I don't have capital, I don't have the knowledge. And so there are these blocks that keep on hindering you from starting. And we talked about a few. Number one, we talked about the perception block. And I said under perception block, there's something about culture. You know, and this is stereotyping. You say, from where I come from, we are not entrepreneurs. You know, our tribe is not entrepreneurial. As we are good at being employed. There are people who say our tribe is good at being employed. Our family is not entrepreneurial. You know, the way Gideon responded when he was called a man of valor. And he said, why call me a man of valor? And the angel said, you are a man of valor. He had stereotyped himself and his tribe. He even analyzed and said, we have a list in the tribes of Israel. Our family is the least in our tribe. So you can see the kind of mental block. And so there are people who have that stereotyping that either themselves, the family, the tribe, or even where they come from, they're not entrepreneurs. So you need to overcome that mental block. The other one that we talked about is lack of critical thinking. I think I'll touch on that today a bit. Then we talked about emotional blocks. Entrepreneurship is not emotional. You can't go into business emotionally. Because the moment your emotions are tried, because you will, and like Enoch said when we were starting, if you fail today and you went into it emotionally, you'll be emotionally just destroyed. So for you to actually get into entrepreneurship, you have to be sober in your mind, not emotional, because your emotions will be tried. Money will run out. Customers will make you mad. Your employees will make you crazy. So if you went into it emotionally, you'll be wrecked, and you'll not be able to rise again. Then cultural blocks, I've talked about that. Environmental blocks, where you are, the people you live with, the people you talk to, the people you gang up with. And I said the 5 people you live with or stay with define who you are. So if you want to become an entrepreneur, you must identify people that are going the direction you're going. Because even if you run as fast as you can, if you're on the wrong direction, you'll never come to the right destination. So you must identify people that are going your way and go with them. Intellectual blocks. Entrepreneurship has a lot to do with mindset. It has a lot to do with intellect, and I'll be talking about that today. You can't ignore knowledge. You can't ignore understanding. You can't ignore reading. A good business person reads, and you cannot be a leader if you can't read. So you must read books books on business, management, anything, and especially your subject matter. The business that you're doing, understand it very well. Know it very well. Know the people that succeeded in it. Because you cannot go to where you've never imagined can be achieved. And then finally, expressive block. You must be able to communicate. Every business person is a salesperson. If you can't sell yourself, you can't sell your business, you can't sell your product, then forget business. So those are the kind of mental blocks we talked about last time.
Wonderful. And of course, your take on this.
Well, I love this discussion, and I love the way you have started it. Identify these blocks, because when you look at the life we are living in right now, studies show that 40% of the entrepreneurs fail to start. 40% is the fear factor that comes in. So when you identify and then help us understand these mental blocks, then there's no excuse we can give to venture into that space.
Yes.
I'm really excited to learn more. Sure.
Wonderful. I also want to understand, what is entrepreneur mindset? What mindset should an entrepreneur have?
Amazing. Let me, and this is very important. Everything that we do become or who we are is 80% mindset. Success is 80% mindset, even before you start doing anything. If you don't have the mindset of becoming, then you cannot become. And I will start, I'm going to give it very clear points, but let me start going back to the Bible, because we believe in the Word of God. When Israelites left Egypt, I look at them and I see three mindsets. The first mindset was the mindset of Moses. And the mindset of Moses was, we can be liberated. We can leave this place. And so when I look at Moses, I call it the liberator's mindset. He wanted to get the people of Israel so much from captivity. And that was his driving force, liberation. Let me liberate my people. Let me get my people from poverty. Let me get my people from pain. Every person or anyone who goes to entrepreneurship must either have a liberator's mindset. That is something that you have been into. Either your family has been into poverty, you've seen suffering, you suffered in the hands of people, and that you want to be liberated. So when you start your life from that mindset of liberation, you want to liberate yourself and liberate others, you can go far. The second mindset is a mindset of Joshua. Now Joshua comes in after Moses, and we know the story. And he's told, Moses is dead, now take the people to the promised land. What kind of mindset does he have? He has a possessor's, a conqueror's mindset. He has to conquer Jericho. I can do it mindset. That is the second mindset that every entrepreneur needs to have. Because while you want to liberate the people, you still have to conquer battles. You have wars to fight. And every day in entrepreneurship, you have to be ready for anything that comes in. The third mindset is a gentleman called Caleb. And I love Caleb. You know, when I read the story of Caleb, I realized that Caleb was actually not a Jew. But he found himself in the team. I'm yet to find out how he found himself there. But you see, Caleb had a mindset that all the other Israelites did not have. Remember the story of the spies? So when he went, he identified a particular mountain, Horeb, and he said, this is my mountain. When we come in here, I will occupy this. What does he go and do? He actually makes a covenant with Moses. If we go and conquer this place, give me that mountain. Give me this mountain. That is a mindset of an occupier. He identified what he wanted. Yes. Someone who goes for territories. I'll conquer Nairobi. I'll conquer Kenya. I'll conquer Africa. If you don't have that mindset of occupying territories, as an entrepreneur, you cannot go far. So you must have the Caleb's mindset. I can possess it. I can take it. It doesn't matter what it takes. The fourth mindset, of course, is the wrong mindset of the rest of the Israelites, who said, oh, we saw giants. And we were like grasshoppers when we looked at the giants, and we became. We saw ourselves like grasshoppers, and so we became. Because if you have the mindset of, it's not possible, there are giants out there. Everything is working against me. Oh, can't you see there's no money? Oh, can't you see the economy is not working? That's a mindset of the rest of the Israelites who did not enter to possess. So from the biblical point of view, first I start with the four mindsets. And so what actually makes you move as an entrepreneur? So now coming to the academic or the aspect of entrepreneurship with that in mind, I break mindset of an entrepreneur into several points. Number one, passion. Besides, being a liberator's mindset, conqueror's mindset, or I can do it mindset, the Caleb's possessor's mindset, and the other mindset, of course, of cowardice, you must be passionate. And I want to say something that was said by someone, and that's Anton Robbins. He said, passion is the genesis of genius. Everybody that you will see performing, wonders or doing great in the entrepreneurship space, they have passion of what they're doing. If you're not passionate, you'll not wake up early. If you're not passionate, you will not spend the night reading. If you're not passionate, you'll not work hard against odds. Sometimes there's no money to show after a whole day's work. It's passion that makes you wake up the following day. So if you want to overcome in the entrepreneurship space, you must be passionate enough. And Steve Jobs, last time you quoted Steve Jobs, this is what he said: you have to be burning with an idea or a problem or a wrong that you want to right. And then he says, if you're not passionate enough from the start, you will never stick to it. So there must be this burning desire, the passion in you that makes you wake up in the morning and say, look, yesterday things don't go well, but I will still go into it. I know that bills are piling up, but I'll still go. It's passion. So passion overcomes fear of failure. The reason why you will not be afraid to fail is because you're passionate. Sometimes you're at the brim of breaking, but passion will keep you going. So I want to encourage everybody watching that passion is what will keep you going. Jeff Bezos, we know the founder and CEO of Amazon, he said, I knew that if I failed, I wouldn't regret it. But I knew the one thing that I would regret if I don't start.
Wow.
If you don't...
So starting is such an important thing.
Such an important thing. And passion is the one that will tell you, look, if you sit and do nothing, and we talked about the 4 lepers, you just die. But you're passionate enough not to sit and do nothing. So passion is number one. Now, if the reason why we defer gratification, and I'll touch on this maybe a bit later, I can afford something. I can buy a new suit. I can buy a new car. I can afford it. But I have a business here to grow. The only reason that you deny yourself some pleasure and invest in your business is passion for your business. People who are not passionate enough for what they are doing, they will do everything else but not what they're supposed to do. And so it's passion for your business that will make you invest in it. You wake up and put more money in it. People who have built empires of enterprises were passionate about it.
Is it the same thing that I see a lot of people when they wake up in the morning? They do every other thing apart from the most important thing. So he's on social media, he wants to answer emails, yet he has got something very, very important. And he is still procrastinating, going around it and round it and round it and not doing it. And that's wondering why he's not succeeding.
And you kill it. You kill it because if you don't invest enough in what you're doing, you kill that business. I normally say, if you're not passionate in for what you're doing, leave it, because you actually frustrate someone. And you might have people working with you who are very passionate, but you are not. So your lack of passion will affect someone else. So do what you're passionate about, and that's very important, Doc. Number 2 is be goal-oriented. Yes, I'm passionate. I want to go to it. I want to do something. I want to go to my job. I want to go to my business. But when you get there, you must be driven by goals. Goals are the ones that say, you can, and let me just define a few terms that confuse people. Goal, strategy, objective, and tactic. A goal is actually a strategy, is a strategy or approach that you take to achieve. You have a goal of building an empire of a business. My goal is to make sure that everybody in this city gets internet, for example, if you're an internet supplier or a service provider. So that's my goal. But
it's a big picture.
It's a big picture. But how you get there, you need what we call a strategy. Now, the strategy is an approach that you will take to achieve it. So for me to achieve this goal, I need to do 1, 2, 3. It's the approach. The objective now becomes the measurable steps. While this is our strategy, every day we have to do 1, 2, 3. We wake up in the morning, we open for example, we open the studio, we do this, and that's an objective. Objectives must be measurable. We call them SMART objectives. They must be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. So if you can't break your journey of entrepreneurship like that, you will be wandering everywhere. You're passionate, because passion can actually burn you up if you don't have a goal. You'll be so passionate, and people are like, this guy knows what, he's so passionate, but something is not just working. You're not goal-oriented.
You're running so fast in the wrong direction.
In the wrong direction.
And then you find yourself
You're
actually
just busy
confused.
around like a headless chicken.
That's a word. Then tact is a tool now that you employ. Yes, I have a goal, I have a strategy, I have objectives, but I need a tact. A tact is what the tool you use to attack every step. In this step, I want to achieve this. What tact will I use?
You meaning tact or tactic?
Tactic.
Tactic. Oh,
When you say tactic, the tact is the tactic.
Yeah.
In the tactic that you're going to apply. So that tactic is the tool. How would I take an example? I'm a trainer. I want to achieve the goal of training 3,000 young people. That's my goal. The strategy is I'm going to do this, to break this down into training of trainers. Then this training of trainers will train other people. That's my strategy. But for me to train these trainers, then I need to have, I need to organize a TOT. My objective at this training of trainers will take place this time. Every quarter I do training of trainers. Every quarter. So we just finished one. But the tact is, the tool, the tactic is, I need a training tool, which is the ILO training that I use. That's my tactic. Because I can't call for training of trainers without a tool. So I use that tool to train trainers, and they use it now to, at the end, we'll achieve the big picture. So as an entrepreneur, what is your goal? If you don't have the goal, you will not run towards the right direction. So this is the mindset we're talking about. Number 3 is a strategic thinker, and I think this is something that I honor a lot. Strategic thinking is what makes the difference. So many people are in business, but we achieve different results. You find someone, the same business lined up in the same area, salon here, salon there, but then they're achieving different results. Why? They are targeting the same customers, they have the same tools, they have the same machine, equipment, but something is not just working in that person. Strategic thinking. Because the strategic thinking, and this is what John Maxwell said, strategic thinking is a bridge that links where you are and where you want to be. So you must be strategic in thinking. And I've already said a strategy is a step-by-step plan on how you're going to get there. So don't just wake up and go to work and expect money to come. Don't just wake up and go to work and expect things to work. Don't just hire people and expect things to work. You must be very strategic in thinking. And so you must define your strategy. And strategic thinkers are, number 1, creative. You must be very creative in decision making, very creative in your plan. Don't do what everybody is doing. Be creative in your, in your thinking. If you're running a small shop, what is the creativity around it? We all go to barber shop or salon. The creativity in the barber, in the person shaving you, is what makes you come back. Because you can go to another barber shop, but there's some creativity in this person that makes you come back. That's the strategic thinking. Have an end-to-end visualization. Strategic thinkers are able to sit here and see 2 years to come. That's very important. What do we want to become or achieve in 2 years to come? Visualize it. Then you start seeing the pathway to that place. You don't wake up every day and go to work, go to your business. You will be so tired after 1 year.
And hope is never a strategy.
Hope is never a strategy.
Because a lot of people just hope that things will work out.
In fact, one of the lies that Christians tell us, we tell ourselves, is hope. Oh, I hope things will take shape.
They will not.
Hope without strategy, it's actually hopelessness.
Hopelessness.
In fact,
Exactly.
another scripture says, hope that is deferred makes the heart sick.
This is it. Because you've been hoping. I mean, how many people have been hoping since 5 years ago?
So many.
They're still hoping. So you need to have visualization. Then have intent focus. Intent focus for strategic thinkers is, if someone looked at this cup and thought, oh, we can brand the cup. And then someone else look at the branding and you say, in the branding, we can do something more. It's an intent focus. You look at something so intently that you can get so many, ideas out of it. And it's the focus that we have on something is what gives us ideas. Intent focus, Doc, is like some people look at this phone and they say, it's a nice phone, but suppose we add something. It's a nice car, but suppose we add something. We, in Toyota, they call it Kaizen, the continuous and never-ending improvement. This is a nice Harrier car, Harrier model. But what can we do about it? Give some more comfort. Give it a better shape. add some nice, reflectors. So that is intent focus. You look at something and you critique it. Look at it and critique it. Every entrepreneur must have the intent focus in their business. Then we have timely thinking.
Timely thinking.
Timely thinking. You don't just think, you think timely. Because, I look at David when he went to the battlefield. And when he looked at Goliath, he had a timely thinking. Here's an opportunity. He would have gone back to the field and taken care of the sheep. But he said, wait a minute, suppose I kill this giant, I'll make a name out of it. It's a timely thinking. Timely thinking is when there's a problem, you get solutions in time. You don't delay. Timely thinking is when opportunities appear, you don't procrastinate. So many people delay solutions. So many people say, I will do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. And someone said, those who say, I will do it tomorrow, tomorrow they will say, I'll do it tomorrow, and they will never do it. So be a timely thinker and take actions. Now, there's something called intelligent opportunist. Still under strategic thinking.
Opportunist.
Intelligent opportunist. People keep on saying, oh, this one is an opportunist. Oh, this one is... Every good entrepreneur is an opportunist.
You must seize a possibility.
You must jump
where
in.
others are seeing problems.
Yes. And people talk, let them talk. But if you've seen a problem somewhere, a gap, it's an opportunity, jump into it. Well, people are complaining you're making money.
Yeah.
That's life. And I love people who take opportunities and grab them. Because let me tell you, we are living in a competitive world. Compete, run, and finally untapped ability. A good entrepreneur, a strategic thinker is untappable. They're able to adjust themselves. When things are not working, they ask, what can I do to change? Can I change my business?
So they have to be flexible and open to change.
Flexibility.
Adaptability.
And that adaptability is very important. Look at what happened to COVID-19. COVID came and a lot of things changed. I remember that time, I think Amazon rose to the top during COVID.
Yeah.
Why? Because they were adaptable to the situation. They quickly thought, how can we shift? And they started delivering products. I think Jumia rose. People struggled to work with Jumia, but now we are on a lockdown. What happens? People are ordering fruits and food and products and all this. So that adaptability, adapting to situations. Now we are in a situation as an economic crisis in Africa and globally. How adaptable are you? Can you shift? Can you pivot from where you are headed to? And just take a different direction to make your business go a going concern. So these are just some of the ideas. We can talk about more. I've just talked about two, actually three. That is, number one was passion. Number two, we talked about goal orientation. And number three is being a strategic thinker. And these are just some of the ones that we
Is resilience a mindset? And how do you incorporate that into entrepreneur mindset?
Resilience, yes.
Now, bouncing back,
Resilience is one of the things that, let me put it the three. Actually, they go together. Agility, resilience, and adaptability. Because agility is the swiftness.
Yeah.
How
fast
you can adapt to things, and how fast you can acquire this and take this opportunity. Adaptability is your ability to change with ease when things change. Resilience is your bounce back speed. You've just fallen. Your business has just crashed.
You've hit the bottom. It's like a tennis ball. The way it hits and then bounces back.
That's resilience. If you can't bounce back fast, you lose so many opportunities, number one. Number two, you had to become wary. Or your mind to become wary. Because the moment you fall and you start complaining, you start arguing it, the energy, the passion, the drive you had gets ruined. But to bounce back, we can be seated here and we are discussing a deal, and I can hear the way this is going, we are losing this deal. And we've lost it. But the resilience will tell me, look for another alternative quickly and provide the solution. So that's resilience. So I would say, and resilience is also the ability to resist any force that is coming against you. How do you become resilient enough? Some turbulences are rising. You know the story of the Gennesaret Sea. Turbulences are rising. How resilient are you to hold on? When you're almost dying, you can keep on going. So that's very important. Can I add on to
Yeah, add.
Oh, good. Let me talk about commitment. Commitment of an entrepreneur is a mindset. Now, commitment is a call to full-time work. If you're an entrepreneur and you're not committed to your work, you're not committed to what you're doing, you give up. It's commitment that makes you wake up and go sit when there are no customers coming to the shop and you're still there. People ask you, what are you waiting for? Customers. Where are they? I'm committed to this. They will come. Commitment. Commitment starts from ideation stage. Your idea, you must be committed to what you're doing. I want to start this because let me tell you, Doc and Enoch, if you're not committed, people will discourage you. There's so many voices telling you out. There's so many voices telling you can't make it. It's commitment that you say, I can make it. I can hold on to this. We are committed to Christianity. You're born again. You've never seen heaven, never seen God, but you're committed. So that faith that calls you to commitment is very important. Self-motivation. You cannot be an entrepreneur if you're not self-motivated. Sometimes there's no one to encourage you. You must wake up and encourage yourself. See what David said? He encouraged himself in the Lord. I think it's 1 Samuel chapter 30. Everything is burning down. The people that you trust on or believe in and you're looking up to have abandoned you. What do you do?
We're against you. They actually want to stone you.
This is it. And he said, look, Lord, what do I do? And he said, pursue. And he encouraged himself. So sometimes you have to pursue. Follow that voice that tells you can make it and keep going. So self-motivation. And this 1 Samuel chapter 17:29. He says, and David said, what have I done now? Is there no cause? This is also during the story of Goliath. When he came to kill, when he said, I want to kill Goliath, everybody rose against him and said, you are a young boy. What are you doing here? The brother said, you should go back to the field. And he said, wait a minute. Gentlemen, don't you see a cause? Don't you see a reason? The word here is the reason. Don't you see a reason to kill Goliath? And everybody, and I tell the entrepreneurs, you must have a reason to do what you're doing. Otherwise, when everything is not working, it is that reason that keeps you there. It's the vision. So you must have a reason. The self-motivation comes by knowing, even if things are not working, I have a reason. I have a reason. And there are two motivators, I call them push motivators and pull motivators. Push motivators are things that are pushing you to achieve what you want to achieve. Pull motivators are things that are ahead of you that are pulling you. You want to get to that goal. I want to get out of, I'm being pushed by poverty. I'm being pushed because I've seen poverty before and I can't sit here and do nothing. That's a push motivator. Pull motivator is there are people who need this product. There are people who need this service. I have to serve them. That's a pull motivator. So either way, you must be motivated.
This is wonderful. And I think we're just about to take our break in the next half a minute or so.
Yeah.
And what's your thought about this mindset? Briefly for half a minute.
Well, I am really thrilled with what you are delivering, and I really understand now why the church has to rise up right now, because all the qualities you've been talking about are just describing the nature of God. You began talking about the journey of the Israelites. God starts dealing with Moses. You talked about Moses. You talked about Caleb. You talked about Joshua, and then the rest of the other people. So I think you are helping us now understand what is required of us. Because the truth is most of us are into this entrepreneurship. Everyone joins this journey. But now we really needed to understand, how do we get to heaven, if I would use that term? How do we get to the success part? Because the truth is, even statistics show us not everyone who starts a business today hands it over to the next generation and the next generation. And you've talked about passion. Yes, we need this passion. But now there's something I want you to address, because we have a challenge with, yes, the young people have so many ideas. You get boiled, even as you're talking, ideas are coming up. But I don't see so many succeeding with these ideas.
Sure.
We also have a gap. You remember when you look at the companies we admire Coca-Cola. How many companies have been here 100 years ago, So it's a big gap. I want you to address, how do I refine? How many ideas should I run with? I mean, what does it take for me to succeed with an idea? Maybe you can help us with that.
We'll take that after the break.
Yes, yes.
And for the viewer who is watching us, we are going to come back with how to refine an idea. We are also going to look at how to start to become an entrepreneur and how to grow your business. That is going to be the second half immediately after a very, very short break. So stay tuned. And in case you're watching us on YouTube, please like, share, subscribe, comment. You really value your feedback. We want to hear from you, and we want you also to help us. When you subscribe and hit the like button, you help us with the algorithm in YouTube. In case you're watching us on Faith Today television, continue watching, tag a friend to come and watch the second part. It's going to be explosive and very interesting. With that, God bless you as we take a short commercial break. Thank you.
Okay, asante. Nilikisajili kitabu ambacho kinaitwa 7 Keys to Success, ama kuna kanuni funguo 7 if you like it, ambazo zitakuletea ushindi na kufaulu maishani. Wote, wewe na mimi, tunataka kufaulu, lakini pia kuna njia ya kufaulu. Ukisoma hiki kitabu ambacho nilikiandika kwa kufanya utafiti, kwa maombi mengi, kuangalia neno la Mungu, I have no doubt ya kwamba hiki kitabu kitabadilisha maisha yako. Nilikuwa naongea na mchungaji rafiki yangu akaniambia, nilisoma hicho kitabu, sasa ninafundisha watu wangu kupitia ujuzi, maarifa, hekima ambayo nilipata kwa hiki kitabu. Kwa hivyo unaweza pia nunulia watu wengine, na akaniambia alinunulia hata viongozi wake, na wamekuwa wakisoma, wakaweka kwa library yao wanasoma. Hiki kitabu sina mashaka, nina uhakika itabadilisha maisha yako na utabarikiwa. Tuma message ama upige simu kwa hiyo namba, na naweza kuwasiliana na wewe na utapata hiki kitabu, utatumiwa, usome na ubariki pia watu wengine. Asante. Mungu akubariki unaposoma 7 Keys to Success, and you will succeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my dear viewer. We really value your continuous engagement with us. Thank you for that short break and you holding on and staying with us this far. And before the break, we were discussing with Mr. Geoffrey Kilonzo, pastor, and we have two things. One, is there any other mindset that you didn't cover? And number two, the refining of the idea. If you can pick those two.
Exactly. And let me start with the quote by Abraham Lincoln. And he said, give me 6 hours to chop a tree. And then he said, I will spend first 5 sharpening the axe.
Wow.
Why am I saying this? Because sometimes we want to do something, we want to get into business, but then we don't prepare. Preparation is what determines how you're going to achieve something. And your mindset is actually shaped by your level of preparation. You don't change a mindset overnight. That's very important to know. Even when we're talking about a liberator like Moses, it took time for that mindset to be shaped. And God had to prepare him. So I would really challenge everybody who wants to go into entrepreneurship. Preparation, preparation, preparation. And I'm going to mention when we come to ideation. Now, the other thing is take calculated risks. We talk about risks. Entrepreneurs are risk takers. I don't advocate for risks or risk taking. I advocate for calculated risks. When you are aware of the risks that might occur, then how do you manage the risks? You know, there are a few strategies that we advise on risk avoidance. You can avoid a risk. And let me give an example of someone who has bought a car and you're a driver. There are so many risks that you may come across. Accidents, car being stolen. You can drive at the recommended speed. You have avoided a risk. How do you avoid a car being stolen? You can park it in safe places. So even in business, you can avoid risks by just doing the right things. And sometimes those right things are things that we don't like doing. How do you manage your finances? Because if you manage your finances poorly, you are actually exposing yourself to financial risks. And your business will come to a financial crisis. Now, the other thing is risk retention. You can decide, I have no way of avoiding this risk. I have to come head on it. But you can only go head on a risk if you're sure you can absorb it. All right. So you should also analyze the level of risk and ask yourself, are you ready? Am I ready for this? Can I handle it? Can I go through with this? So you retain the risk or reduce the risk. All right. Reduction of risk is it is bound to happen, but I can reduce the magnitude. All right. Then finally, transfer the risk. Many business people don't like insurance. All right. Every time an insurance person calls you, you say, I want insurance. But let me tell you, those insurance companies can save your business. I just watched a clip, I hope it's true, that the Gote oil refinery caught fire, I think a day or 2 days ago. What is the magnitude of destruction fire can cause in an oil refinery? You think without insurance that person can recover? You cannot recover. So for you to safeguard, if you have electronics, you are working in a factory, you're dealing with a business that can, I mean petrol stations, gas stations. We've seen when fire raises a petrol station, what happens? How can you safeguard against that risk? Transfer the risk to an insurance company. So you can manage your risk. So that is another. Then finally is what I call the intelligence quotient. I wanted to really talk about that before we go to the how to nurture an idea. What is intelligence quotient? And I've talked about intelligence, but the word intelligent is derived from Latin word intelligentia or intellectus, and actually means to perceive or to comprehend. Now, a business person should have the ability to perceive, the ability to comprehend. This is my business, all right? How much do I know? How much can I perceive about it? How much can I comprehend about it? It's intellect. But then there's quotient. Quotient is the amount that you can retain. All right, so there's intelligence, which is the comprehension level or the perception level. But there's the retention level. You receive this information, how much can you retain? Let me tell you the truth. Entrepreneurs must have high intelligent quotients. Now, when you talk about quotients, there are 4 of them, and it's not good to just talk about one. Number 1 is intelligent quotients. The information you receive, how much do you retain? If you listen to entrepreneurs speak, there's a level of intelligence they have that you admire. I love the way he understands their business. I love the way he understands the way to do it. It's IQ. It's your ability to retain the information you get. If a customer speaks to you today about a challenge, how much can you perceive that or receive that and retain it? because the much you retain determines how you make decisions. The second quotient is what we call the emotional quotient. So there's IQ, there's EQ. Your emotional quotient is the ability to understand your emotions and those of others and do the right thing. Many entrepreneurs who are not emotionally intelligent, they find themselves always fusing up. You know, you are always mad. You're talking to the customers without emotional intelligence, and you can't actually manage customer service. So even employees, you keep on fighting, you keep on firing everybody. If you find every time you have issues with people, check your emotional intelligence. It could be a problem there. And if you can manage your emotional intelligence, then you can manage everybody around. Number 3 is a spiritual quotient. We hardly talk about that. So your IQ is very important in business. Your EQ is very important in business, but your spiritual intelligence is equally important. So if you have said quotient is the amount that you retain, or the level of retention, the ability to retain something, then, or the depth of something, then your spirituality in the marketplace can determine how far you go. And I'll say this without doubt. Marketplace is 100% spiritual. And we are 100% spiritual people. So when you go to the marketplace as a born-again person, please understand that the marketplace is a spiritual place. It's not in the church where we should be spiritual only. We should be spiritual in the marketplace. We're talking about mindset here. So I should go to the marketplace with a mindset that I'm in the marketplace spiritually. You see, there's a word that we use, the word I'm using, spiritual. It's actually pneumatikos in Greek. The word pneumatikos, it means animated by the Spirit. So when you say I'm spiritual, it means I'm animated. I'm being operated by the Spirit. So whatever I do, the decision I make, the way I do things, I'm being animated. It's like a remote. So its marketplace should be operated by or run by the spiritual. And that's very important. So I wanted to mention that because sometimes we say, oh, I'm in church, when I go to churches when I'm spiritual. When I go to the marketplace, you're not carnal in the marketplace. You must be spiritual. You are in warfare, you are doing things spiritually. And if you're not, because there's no lukewarm people in the marketplace. The moment you're lukewarm, you'll be destroyed. Some people fight you spiritually, and you're too carnal in the marketplace. And you're wondering, what is happening? My heavens are locked. My financials are closed. It's because you are carnal in the marketplace. You should be spiritual.
Pastor, on that, it's a double-edged sword, because we are in a kind of a setting whereby born again now, you've talked about spiritual quotients. Someone might now decide to have a prayer, kind of setting
in the marketplace.
In the business, you know, clients come in, they want your services, then you tell them, we are doing prayer. Is that how you want us to do? Maybe you can really give us more depth in that.
Thank you. Spirituality is not foolishness. You also must be wise.
Sure.
Jesus said, go out there, be wise as serpent, harmless as doves. Why did he say that? Because there is a time to show up your spirituality. There's a time to hide your spirituality. There's a time to be spiritually private, in private. There's a time to, I train Muslims. I just finished speaking in a conference in Somalia, and I was speaking to 100% Muslims. So is there a place to go and say hallelujah, praise the Lord? No, come on. You must be wise, and you must know, who am I dealing with? See, we can preach with our actions without telling people to get saved. And people wonder, how come you're different? And then that's the time you say, oh yeah, you're born again. You've preached with your actions. So be wise. Wisdom is to know when to say things. So you can't go out and start a church in your business. And you're serving customers from all walks of the world. You are serving Hindus, you're serving Muslims, you're serving Christians. Let them come and see the difference of a business run by a believer and a business run by a drunkard or an unbeliever. And let them admire you and say, I want to. You see what the Bible says in Isaiah chapter 2, that and people from all walks of the world will come and say, let us go to the house of the Lord, that we may be taught of his ways. That is Isaiah chapter 2, verse 2. Why? Because when we live right, do business right, we don't have to shout. People just admire and they say, I want to be taught. Where did you go to school? Say, oh, come on, it's not about school. It's about what I subscribe
What I
to.
subscribe to.
And they will come. So we
Love
can
that.
pull people without necessarily shouting at them. Otherwise, the more you shout at them, the more they will go. The more they will tell them. Nowadays, actually, they may reject you. We're in a rejecting time. They may say, you're born again. Come on, these are the crooks.
These are the same people.
These are the same people.
Yeah, look
But
at
let them see by you are a different person.
Yeah.
What makes you different? We went to the same school, have the same degree, but you're achieving different results, you behave differently, and they will subscribe to your God. Yeah, so it's wisdom.
So we go to the idea side.
So
But
idea
before we
side.
do that, there's a question I want to tie to that idea
Okay.
because it's very related. Janet, thank you very much, Janet, for writing to us. She says, "Hey, Doc, would you advise on starting investment as an individual or as a group? And what are we to evaluate when choosing these options?" So the evaluation bit,
Yeah.
even as you tie it to screening an idea.
Amazing. And thanks, Janet. And she also mentioned as a group. So there are also two things there.
As an
Planning
individual, as a group.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I think that this idea,
Yeah.
screening and all that.
So how do you start in this journey of business? Number one is retrospection. And the best thing, we spoke about this last time, is to look at your abilities, your experience, where you're coming from. Then identify what you can do within you and within yourself. Because whatever you start, it needs to be something that you understand, something that you have either had an experience on, or something you can easily, or maybe you're skilled in, you've been trained on it. Don't go into a business you have no idea how it runs. Don't get your money into an investment you don't even understand. And I'm tying this to that. I've seen people who say, I invest in cryptocurrency. Or, okay, tell me about cryptocurrency. I have no idea. My brother told me about it. You've just developed a recipe for failure. Why? Because if you do what you don't understand, you can't defend it, even on yourself. And so I will advise people, first understand what you want to do. Number two is there are methods of idea generation. We talked about that, scanning and all that. But let me go direct. Now you have these ideas, many of them, like Enoch said. What do? Run your business idea through screening. I think we mentioned that last time. Screen your idea. Do field study. Use the 3 Ws and 2 Hs, I mentioned that. And then run it through a SWOT analysis. While that is said, Doc and Enoch, there's something that was developed by a gentleman called Alexander Osterwalder. And it's called the business model canvas. It's the simplified way of looking at your business. And I think it's wise if we discussed it. Because a good business looks at these 9 blocks, right? And then you define your business based on the 9 blocks. Because what Alexander did is he defined blocks that touch on businesses. And how some people even go further and break it down into 3 segments. But I will take us through them and ask ourselves, because if you can ask yourself questions around the 9 blocks, you can easily say, oh yeah, I'm comfortable with this business. You can use this tool, because it's a tool, when you're starting, and you can use it when you are growing the business. So what are the blocks? Number 1 is what we call the customer segments. The customer segments is what customers does your business target? For you to actually refine your idea, say this is what I want to do, and also grow your business well, you must know your customer segment. One business can be targeting a particular location, but we may have different segments within the same. And we talk about demographics, firmographics. We talk about, all these areas. For example, I may be running a shop, that sells kids' clothes. But my target is for kids who are in a particular region or location, maybe high-end or low-end. So how much, you can't price your goods like mine because you don't know my target client. The same phone that you bought, you buy somewhere in River Road, someone buys the same phone somewhere in the upmarket, double the same, or somewhere else. Coffee, we talked about coffee. You take tea which is 20 bob somewhere. The same tea is 200 or 300 elsewhere. So understand your market segment, and that's a very important block. Now, the questions are, what customers are you targeting? What are their current needs? Your business idea must understand the needs. How do you identify those customer needs? Because for you to start and grow, you must keep on understanding the needs. I will serve you better if you understand, I understand your needs more. So as you grow your business, keep on even getting feedback. And I like some places where they get feedback and ask, what made you come to us? Why did you return? When did you come back to us? If you can keep relating with customers and getting feedback, you'll grow your business, because customers inform your journey. Customers inform how you'll serve them better. And then what is their age group? What are their financial status? Residence location. Sometimes do some survey and let people give you feedback. Because if I know Enoch where he stays, and I know another customer stays the same location, so I may want to think, wait, is it actually better than if I have a branch there? Because that is growth. It's informing your growth. Because all of my customers are coming from this segment. I can do something about it. So that is number one. Number two is...
I think before we... Because I know that is 9 segments, isn't it?
Yes.
And I would suggest we take another day for that.
How amazing.
Yeah, because I know what it is, and I know the viewer there will really need us to take him slowly through those 9.
Each of them.
Isn't it?
It's amazing.
So for now, let us take some questions, because also again, time is not on our side. We only have 13 minutes to go.
Yes.
And a lot of questions
pleasure.
here.
My pleasure.
So again, the questions, if you could take a minute or 2 only, just to address these questions from our viewer, then we can pick our discussion from that.
Yes.
So the first one here, this second question. Somebody say, good morning, KBN, I'm Gracie, and I sell dresses. What marketing strategy should I use? Quickly.
Marketing strategy.
Yeah.
Marketing strategy is informed by what we call the marketing mix. And marketing mix is defined by 7 P's. Number 1, your product definition. You define your product and understand it well. Package it in a manner that people can identify it. Number 2 is your pricing. You must understand your pricing. Okay. Marketing strategy is, how do I price this to reach my customer? Again, segment, because pricing is based on the customer segment, and you must meet your margins. You must also make your profit. Then your place, okay. The place is, where should I do my business? How do I reach my customers? Then we talk about people. Who will I use to reach my customers? Then promotion. How will I promote my business? Many people think marketing strategy is just promotion. Promotion is just one component of marketing strategy. Am I going to social media? Am I going to radio? Am I going to word of mouth? And then talk about physical evidence and the process. So the 7 P's are the ones, and study much more and see how can you package define each P to define your marketing strategy. That's the best way to go about strategy.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. The next question from somebody, John in Roysambu, says, how do I motivate myself in my business? Sometimes someone feels like giving up.
Yeah.
This is John from Roysambu.
John,
motivation.
Every day you wake up in the morning, ask yourself, why am I doing it? There's a book called Start With a Why. The moment you know why you're doing it, you will never stop doing it. When you start with the what is the byproduct. The what is the money. Money is the byproduct of your passion. Money is a byproduct of why you're doing it. So why did you start? Every time, and I talked about the question that David asked, is there no reason for me to kill Goliath? Why did he ask that? Because he was living in the bushes, nobody recognized him, he was anointed as king, and he knew, if I have to get in from the bushes, I have to do something significant that will make me a standout. So you must have a driving force. Why are you doing it? Why are you in business? Is it to provide a solution? Is it to get yourself out of the poverty situation? Is it to get yourself from a financial crisis? That should be your driving force. And we are all driven by different things. I normally say we wake up being chased by different things. And you must know what is chasing you.
I like that. Janet, there's another Janet here.
Oh, yeah.
Janet is saying, thank you very much, Janet, for getting in touch with us. Good to see Enoch, nice work. How do I know what team I need for my cooking business? The team.
The team.
It's like HR,
Or the people. The best way to know the people that you're going to work with is simple. Write down all the activities of your business. When you write down everything that you do, my activities are cooking, selling, buying, all those things, financial management, delivery, write down them, all of them. Once you've written down all the activities, then group them. Group them based on who can do it. One person can buy, can sell, can do this, can do that. Put that together and say, this is the person I want.
This is the resource I want.
This is the resource I want. What qualifications should they have? Define it. That is number one. Number two, so you have three categories of activities, and you know the qualifications you want, you would definitely know who you need. But again, I always say, don't just hire. There are reasons for hiring people. And there are three. There are two. Number one is either to hire people to do what you don't have time to do. That you become so busy, your business is so busy, that there are things you don't find time to do. You can do them, but you don't have time to. So you hire someone. We hire accountants to take care of money because we've become busy and we might lose track. But if you can manage it, don't hire. Number two, you hire people to do what you cannot do. One is you don't have time to do. Two is you cannot do, based on skill and expertise. I'm running a business and I have a need for an IT expert, but I'm not an IT expert. So I can't do that. I need an expert to do that. So while you have done your activity identification, grouping them, then ask yourself, do I have time to do this? Can I do this? And do I need to hire? Don't just hire.
And I think also at different stages of the business, you require a different number of people. Because especially when you're starting, a lot of the young entrepreneurs, they start solo.
Yes.
He is the accountant, or she is a cook, she is this, she's a delivery person.
Everything.
Because she can't afford to get a delivery person, maybe she can't afford to hire an accountant. But as business grows, you start to realize that now you need to do what you're saying.
Yes.
Get somebody else to come and handle this area, this department. It will reach a time whereby you don't even need to be in that business, because when you're in that business, that will become an impediment to growth.
Exactly.
You know? And you need maybe to hire a CEO.
Yes.
And then you form a board of directors and you'll be meeting them quarterly. And yet it's a business whereby when you started, you are all alone. You are the accountant, you are the CEO, you are the delivery person, you are the cook, you are everything. So also the stage of the business also matters.
Matters a lot. Do you remember what we said about entrepreneurship? That you have identified the problem, solved the problem, and you start detaching. But Doc, can I say something? Because if we skip this, it's not good. When you are about to start hiring, define what we call culture. And this is important for everybody hiring. And I see this so many times. What is culture? Culture is how things are done.
Yes.
This is not the standard operating procedures, what you call the SOPs. That's one thing. Okay, you can define, we report at 8, we do this, we do this. That's a standard operating procedure. But there's now the people. You can have very nice books, very nice defined as whatever. But if you don't live them, they're useless.
Yeah.
And I say this, culture follows this structure. Number one, culture is taught, is defined, sorry. You define culture, and that's what we write as procedures. Everybody here must be qualified like this, do this, and do that. Those are defining. Number two, you live the culture. Because defining is one thing, living it is another thing. So if you want to have a good business, define the culture, live the culture. Number two is reward the culture. Actually, before you do the word measure the culture, measuring the culture is how much have we achieved? We said we are doing this, let's measure it. So it's the key performance indicators. Are we managing our time? Are we managing our resources? Are we managing our wastage, our waste? And once you measure it, reward it. Who did well? And that's why you go to hospitals and you see the officer of the month, employee of the month. What are they doing? They're rewarding culture. And finally, punish bad culture. If you reward good culture and you don't punish good culture, people will wear out. They will not see the motivation. So if you want a business, and that you go anywhere, Safaricom, big corporate, there's culture. It's defined, it's lived, it's measured, it's rewarded, but it's also punished. I think it was good.
And I think it's very, very important what you're saying, because if you develop a bad culture in a business when it's still young,
Yes.
when it grows with that bad culture.
Yes.
And doesn't matter how many people you try to bring into that business. If somebody is coming from a good culture and comes to your business, and you hire him, and then he sees the culture, most likely either he becomes very ineffective or demotivated, or the next thing he wants to move out.
Even when they were good elsewhere.
Even when they were good elsewhere.
That's true.
So culture is very, very, very important. And that's why a small business should actually define a good working culture.
Very important.
That people can know that this culture, things run this way in this place.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Culture is like cancer.
It's like cancer.
It spreads.
Now, we have very few minutes again. I'm Ruth, and I find it hard dealing with competitors. They seem way ahead. What do I need to do? 1 minute.
Wow. Competition will always be there. And if you're not facing competition, you're not in business. But then how do you deal with competition? First things first. You need to understand your competitors. You do what we call competitor analysis. Competitor analysis says you need to study your competition and know what they're doing that you're not doing. Because they may be strong because they have resources. They may be strong because they already have a clientele base or our client base. But so if you've just started and you feel competition is way ahead, study them. Study them. It's like a game of soccer. You can't win against your team unless you understand the tactics of your team. So study. We do what we call benchmarking. You benchmark. You go and study. This department in this competitor, what are they doing? So if you can study your competition slowly and then you start working towards, because there are always gaps that you can leverage on. You can always overcome competition. And again, don't see competition like a problem. Competition helps you to be a critical thinker. So I look at competition and I say, it's good. It keeps me awake. It keeps me studying. It keeps me wanting to know more. And sooner than later, you'll be coming up. So you will have to work. Again, number two, you have to do market share analysis. Yes, competition is there, but what is your market share? Market share is, Enoch is handling 20 customers. You are handling 50 customers. I'm handling 10. So am I increasing my market share or reducing my market share? If I'm reducing, it could be my problem. If I'm increasing, it means I'm also taking off the competitors' customers. So it's a journey, and don't be afraid of competition.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Ni vizuri mtu kuwa na mtu ambaye anakuinspire, yani role model, au hii itaondoa the originality. Mimi ni Moses from Gomba.
Moses.
Maybe a simple answer.
Moses, mentors can't take away your originality. A mentor is someone who walks with you, or a coach is someone who will walk with you, and they will not change you. They will only improve you. So you identify people who can improve you. The people who can change your originality are investors. People who will put money into your business may want to change it to define what they want to achieve. So get a motivator. You can have a role model, and a role model is not a mentor. You can look up to someone you've never met, and it's okay. You can study them even if you've never met them, but you can have someone who you can talk to. You can, open up to and cry on their shoulders. It's very important. Yeah.
Keith is asking, what are some ways in which I can fund my business?
Wow, funding is wide. We may not have time to discuss it, but we can discuss it in the next show. But funding depends on the stage of business, number one. Funding depends on your capacity and ability. Funding, there are different ways of funding. Number one, what we call bootstrapping. Bootstrapping is funding business from your pocket, from your own toil.
Especially when you're starting.
When you're starting. So you keep reinvesting and reinvesting. You really have to deny yourself a lot to bootstrap. When your business has grown a bit, you may want to leverage with loans. And I'm saying leverage because people misunderstand loans. Loans are not there to help they're not supposed to finance your business. They're supposed to leverage on loans. Now this means you're already going. You need a loan to push you. So you borrow money because you're already ongoing. Number two is from investors, from partners, friends, and all this. So I think we can have time to discuss debt and debt management.
We can do that next time.
It's very important.
So I think what I would say is that thank you very much for the discussion. I have a lot of questions, dear viewer, and I'll make sure that in the next program he comes back. I've not even told him, but now I'm booking him for the next program. And I can see questions from people like David from Merema, somebody asking about fitness and training, others asking about strong portfolio. Be sure that next week we are going to address your questions. So stay tuned. Pastor is already agreed. He's going to be back next week because we've not even finished what we wanted to discuss today. We shall continue with that topic from there, and we can take some parting shots from Enoch.
Well, thank you so much, Doc. It's really a palm-pleasing pleasure. There's so much to take home today. You have given us a broad spectrum of ideas, and I really pity someone who is not going to take time to go back and really note this down, because there's so much to take away. And when you hear what these experts are really saying, for the young people, I think this is our time really to now refine our ideas. Because yes, we have the energy, we have this passion, but when you glean from all that they are saying, is that you need to really focus, narrow down your approach. That is when you really can have a lot from entrepreneurship. And of course, I would quote one man who made a statement and said that you cannot chase two rabbits.
Yes.
You know, you will be chasing this one, and then another one passes.
Yeah.
You want to catch this one.
You must identify the one you want.
You must
Yes.
identify the one you
Stick
want.
to it.
You know, it's a jungle, like he has said. Entrepreneurship is a journey. You know, there's so much to learn. So as I conclude this, I want to also invite you. This is very important to our service. Bishop has started a very good series. We are breaking barriers in business. He's helping us break barriers in service. So I want to invite you on our Sunday service. It starts at 10 a.m. I pray that you attend, because there is so much to learn. The church is moving from point A to B, and this is the time. It is so critical. I would love to see you. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Enoch. Yes. Pastor, maybe you can tell the viewer what you do, how they can interact with you.
Yes.
Take the next 2 minutes and feel free to tell them what
What
you
I
do,
do.
and how you
Thank
can interact.
Thank you so much first for even the invite. And I want to encourage the viewers first. The greatest business ever lived and ever shall live is God. That's very important. All the things that we talked about here, God has applied them one by one, all of them. And so if you want to know how to do business, look up to God. That's very important. Number two is I am a business coach and a mentor, a trainer. We run trainings. I'm on social media, Geoffrey Kilonzo. You go to TikTok, go to Instagram, go to Facebook, every other social media. We have so many videos that touch on so many of these that you can listen to. Number two is I'm also an author. All what I'm talking about is in my books. I've not touched anything that is not in my book. In fact, what we did today is in the book called Developing Entrepreneurship Competencies. And so you can write to us. You can actually share your contacts, and wherever you are, we can deliver the books for you. They only go for 1,000. So we have 5 books that you can benefit from. And finally, look out to our advertisements. We do master classes, we do training of trainers, and you may benefit from that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pastor Kilonzo. He's really been a wonderful resource and very resourceful in the field of business. And I just feel compelled that we need to continue with him next week, and might be even the other one, until God helps us to part with him for a brief time. But I think it's going to become one and part and parcel of our program, because we really need a lot of these ideas. And we want to make sure that by the time he leaves the show, he's given us as much as possible. Absolutely. There's even a topic you started, and I told him just hold, because I know that the reader, the viewer here needs to hear that. So with that, thank you very much, Via, for engaging with us. We shall pick some of the questions that you sent us today next week. So God bless you very much, and continue being engaged with us. God bless.